Dream wedding turns into a nightmare as my fiancé constantly takes his sister's side, leading me to question our entire relationship. I, 30F, am getting married to Roy, 31 male. We met in college and hit it off right away. He's handsome, charming, smart and supportive. We fell in love and planned our entire future together. We planned where to live, how many kids to have, vacations, college fund for children, retirement, etc. I love him so much. He's my soulmate and my best friend. He would tell me he's proud of me whenever I achieve something. He's super supportive of my dreams and ambitions. He'd motivate me to take up projects which I was hesitant to. He'd reassure me that I'm capable and talented enough. He'd compliment me every time I got dressed to go out and tell me how lucky he was to have me as his GF. Roy's father passed away when he was just 8 years old and his elder sister Kim, 33F, was 10. His mother, Yami, 55F, never remarried. She's a very kind and sweet lady. I never got to know Kim as she lived in a different city for work and rarely visit us. We got engaged 8 months ago in an engagement ceremony. In my country, the to-be bride and groom get engaged in a ceremony among family and close friends. Kim moved back to our city and found a job here. This is when things started to get complicated. It's customary here for the girl's parents to pay for the wedding. My dad hired a wedding planner and told me to plan the wedding with them to my and Roy's liking. When we started the planning process, my future mill stayed out of it, but Kim would tag along with us wherever we went. To the florist, to the wedding planner's office, to the caterers, everywhere. I wanted it to be just me and Roy. I told him that I didn't like future Sil third-wheeling something just the both of us must have been doing together. He told me that Kim just wanted to be involved in her brother's wedding and I should be more welcoming of her. I would have actually been okay with it if she'd keep her mouth shut and not give us her valuable input. When I choose flowers, it would be too pastel, choose a different color palette. When I would suggest the chair arrangement to the planner, she'd be like, that won't give a proper view to the guests on the far left. I wanted to have coconut pudding at my wedding. It was my absolute favorite dessert growing up and I wanted to share it with my guests on my wedding day, but guess what? No. Not coconut. I'm allergic. The thing that pisses me off the most is that Roy always takes her side when it's my choice versus her choice. He wouldn't fight or anything. He'd be like, it doesn't matter which flower it's going to be as long as it's you who's my bride. Let it go, babe, it's not a huge deal. The only thing that's important is that we're marrying each other and starting a new life together. When the coconut pudding thing happened, he asked me not to be selfish as it's not just about me and it's about both of us and our families. He said, Kim is family and I cannot exclude her from having the food at our wedding. I was really frustrated at this point. It's as if we're planning Kim's wedding and not mine. The final straw was when we were shopping wedding dresses. Wedding wear would be an appropriate word as it is our traditional clothing. My mom picked out this beautiful green dress for me and I loved it so much. But Kim had to poke her nose here as well. She told me that green isn't my color and I should try something else. Roy agreed with her. Then I tried different dresses and finally decided on a rose gold dress that I liked too, but not as much as the green one. We then started to shop for the families of the bride and the groom. When it was Kim's turn, I kid you not, this B/TCH picks out the same green dress and decides she's gonna buy it. I lost it. I didn't want to make a scene there, so I walked out. I and Roy had a huge fight about this at home. He told me that green wasn't going well with my skin tone, and that it suits Kim better, that I should stop acting so immature, that Kim picked that dress after I'd already picked out mine. I couldn't believe my ears. For the first time since we started planning our wedding, I noticed how he's always taken Kim's side and never mine. I couldn't believe that the man I was looking at was the same man I fell in love with. Roy and Kim shared a strong bond due to losing their father so young. They were each other's best friends and support system growing up. But that doesn't justify him taking her side when it's our wedding and our vision. Back in college when we were dating, he'd brag about his sister to anyone he could, even if that person was complimenting me. Like, if someone complimented the taste of the coffee I made, he'd be like, if you think this is delicious, then you must try the coffee my sister makes, etc. It was annoying but wasn't a big deal and I let it go as I knew he was really close to her. But this time I cannot let go. It's our wedding. Not Kim's wedding. I yelled at him that if this wedding is happening, then it's happening like we both envisioned it or it's not happening at all. Roy got mad at me and yelled that I was just jealous of his sister as I can never be as good as her. That I am a bitter person for holding a grudge against Kim even though she's been nothing but kind to me. That she was just trying to help, etc. I don't hold any grudge against her. I just want to have my dream wedding. Ada? NTA, stop the bus. Get off and run. Run, baby, run. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out cause you are running so fast. You will never get your own way. Imagine having a kid, but because Kim likes the name Tammy, your kid is now Tammy. Imagine your nursery being Dayglow Orange because Kim likes it. You are in a relationship that is 2 against 1. Want to guess which side you have been placed on? Do you really want to live your entire life doing whatever Kim wants? Don't be stupid enough to think he will change. He won't. Don't waste your time trying to get him on your side. Stop the planning now, and tell your dad to not pay a dime to anyone for anything. Save your dad some money before he pays anything. I can finally see how doomed my future is if I decide to marry this man. I want to call my mom and cry so bad. I just want to hug my parents and tell them that they were right about him and that I was blinded by love. But I'll have to wait. I can't let them see me in such miserable condition. I need to put myself together and be mentally ready to handle this situation. I've already called the wedding planner and asked her to block any further payments to the vendors. Update 1. I'm at my home with my parents, my sister, and my best friends, having coconut pudding. We spoke for a while to put our stories together so that I get the sequence of events right. I forgot to mention my sister Maya, 34F. She works abroad and came home a week ago to help me with the then upcoming wedding and also to spend time with me. The day of wedding we're shopping. Maya stayed home as she was jet-lagged. My mom, 2 of my aunties, 4 cousins, 3 uncles, Roy, Kim, Yami, ex-future Mill, 2 of Roy's aunties, 2 uncles were also present. So we were like 18 people shopping for wedding wear. When I got upset and left, Roy followed me back to his home where we fought. At the store though, my mom finally couldn't hold back anymore. She yelled at Kim and called her some nasty names. Kim retorted by calling me a few nasty names. This led to a messy shouting match between Team Bride and Team Groom, Yami attempting to calm the situation down. Police were called and they were all escorted out of the shop. After this whole thing happened, Kim went missing. This is when I had that fight with Roy and went to stay at my friend's home. Kim wasn't answering her phone and she wasn't at any of her friends' or relatives' places. Roy and Yami searched for her everywhere as they were worried for her safety, then found her at a distant relative's house the next morning. Yami had called me, which I didn't answer, to ask if I knew where Kim might have gone. At the hospital, when I was inside the doctor's office, I had a full-blown panic attack. I started to hyperventilate, high pulse rate. I was passing out then regaining consciousness for a few seconds before passing out again. I just remember a needle piercing my butt. I was knocked out for a whole day. Well, my friend told me I was awake and acting drunk, but I don't remember anything that happened. I woke up on my bed at my parents' house. Nobody asked me anything or spoke to me about what had happened. My mom smiled sweetly at me when she saw me wake up and asked me if I wanted some coffee, and guess what? Mom's coffee kicks Kim's coffee's ass any day. Maya and I spoke about her life abroad. My dad brought me some snacks and ice cream. It felt good to put off thinking about the wedding and the fallout to a later time. Maya hugged me while I slept that night. I remember my heart feeling warm and tears running down my cheeks. She kept saying everything will be okay, have faith in God, it's okay to cry and let it all out. Next morning, I got a call from Roy. I picked up. He asked me where I was and I said I'm at my home. He said he wants to meet me at his place to sit down and resolve the differences between us. I said okay, I'll be there. I can move on only if I end this chapter of my life once and for all. My dad drove me, Maya and my mom to Roy's place. Roy, Kim, Yami and his uncle, Yami's brother, were there. I know it's silly but I hoped Roy understood his mistakes and was going to apologize to me. And boy was I wrong. As soon as we all sat down, Roy started yelling at me for making a scene at the wedding dress store and he went on to tell me how Kim went missing, how she was so upset because of the things my mom had said to her that she could have harmed herself, how his mom and him had to drive around the city all night in search of Kim and how I was so heartless to not answer Yami's call. I calmly asked him where I was that night. I, like Kim, hadn't answered my phone too. I too was upset because of our fight. Did the thought of my well-being ever cross his mind? He went quiet for a few seconds then tried to say something fumbling his words. It didn't even make any sense. I told him that I now know who is more important to him and it's definitely not me. His uncle intervened to speak over me to my dad saying kids these days fight over the smallest things. I'm sure you can make your daughter understand how married life requires sacrifices and isn't like in the movies. My dad told him that it's my daughter's life and only she gets to decide if the issue is small or big, so let her speak to her fiancé. I looked back at Roy and told him that I know that I am the side chick and your sister is the main chick. Any person with even a shred of self-respect won't be fine with being her own husband's side chick. I said, you are free to marry your sister at the dream wedding that she has planned. At this moment, I saw his face turn red and before I could understand what was going on, Roy had slapped me across my face so hard that my inner cheek and my nose started to bleed. My dad punched him on his face, got him in a chokehold and continued punching on his guts. Yami, my mom and his uncle were trying to separate my dad and Roy. Maya hugged me tightly and was tending to my bleeding nose when Kim yelled like a banshee blaming me for something. I'm unable to recall what she exactly said. Even Maya doesn't remember it properly. I think it was on the lines of I wish you had never come into our lives and made it a living hell, while marching up to me with her hand in the air to hit me. Maya held Kim's hand before she could hit me and backhand bitch slapped her. Kim fell to the floor and screamed like she was being skinned alive. By this time, the neighbors came in and separated everyone. The police and ambulance came a few minutes later. Roy was bleeding from his mouth and his face looked bluish. The ambulance took him away. I was taken in another ambulance. After I was treated, I was taken to the police station where mine and Roy's family were seated, but Roy wasn't there. Yami approached me and told me that she's sorry and wished me luck for my future. The police took my statement and asked me if I wanted to press charges against Roy. I said yes. They informed me that his tooth had been knocked out and one of his ribs was broken, so there is a chance he might press charges against my dad. By midnight we were all allowed to go home. This morning, my friends came over and we all had our breakfast together. After a lot of discussion, we decided that I need to start therapy as well as medication for my mental health. We ordered pizza for lunch and my dad kept making lame jokes. Later Mom, me, Maya, best friend 1 and best friend 2, account owner, started reading the comments on my post. Mom was so happy about the replies to my comment about wanting to call my mom and cry. She told me that I should never worry about being vulnerable with them. I need not put on a strong front for them when I'm actually hurting inside. She said she'd wished I'd contacted her sooner. I would like to thank every single one of you who took out time to comment and show concern for a complete stranger. If it weren't for people like you, I wouldn't have seen the issues that I see so clearly now. I might have even forgiven him and ended up in a miserable marriage. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. You all restore my faith in humanity. And for those who said that I need to grow a spine, well yes I do, but I'd like to share my POV in my country. Girls are taught from a very young age that girls who keep families together are good girls and girls who break families are bad ones. Even though my parents never taught me that and I have a master's degree, this concept somehow got ingrained in my brain at a very young age. That's why I wouldn't speak up to Kim. I didn't want to cause conflict between them because that's what the bad girls do. I hope therapy helps resolve it. I'm still grieving the loss of not just the past and the relationship but also the beautiful future I'd dreamt of. I'm grieving the loss of the love of my life, a person who actually never existed. I know it will take time for me to heal but I do feel lighter. My parents are over the moon but they hide their happiness from me as they know I'm still hurting. They look like they've aged backward. Roy has been discharged from the hospital. I hope he and his sister live happily ever after. You have such a supportive family. I am so happy for you that you found out who really loves you and dumped Roy. You're going to be so happy without Kim and Roy destroying your happiness. The way I felt so claustrophobic since Kim moved back is something that I have never experienced. Now that feeling is gone. This shows me that it was the right decision to dump him. Now on to second story. Husband prioritized his daughter over our honeymoon and now I feel completely unseen and neglected in our relationship. I, 28F, have been with Michael, 41 male, for the last 8 years. We got engaged 1.5 years ago and decided to get married once my master's degree was done. Michael has a daughter, F, 12, who lives across the country. I found out I was pregnant 4.5 months ago. When I told Michael, he looked shocked. I suggested we postpone the wedding, but he said no. In fact, let's have the wedding earlier. We can have a small courthouse wedding, and once the baby is born, we will have a nice party. I reluctantly agreed. We set a date, I got a nice dress, and my friend did my hair and makeup. I showed up and saw that Michael didn't bother wearing a clean shirt. He wore his old jeans, didn't shave or shower, and wore his old t-shirt. I asked him if he really wanted to marry me. He said yes, let's go, hurry up. After the ceremony, we went for lunch, and he told me his daughter is moving in with us, so it's best to cancel our honeymoon/baby moon that was supposed to be in September. I was shocked and asked why. He said he can't just abandon his kid for a week. Ella is moving across the country, everything is new to her, we need to bond with her. Get over yourself. You are going to be a mom, how about a little empathy? I just stayed quiet. He went back to work, and I went back to my place to pack my stuff alone because I was officially moving in with him. Now that Ella has moved in, I feel completely unseen. He spends all his free time doing stuff with her, and I'm not invited. He says his kid has been through a lot and he needs to bond with her. I pretty much spend all my time alone, either at school or at my part-time job. I go to all my baby appointments alone. Today, he told me he is taking her to Disneyland because September is her birthday. I feel so petty, but September was supposed to be our honeymoon. I asked, and I guess I'm not invited to the trip, right? He said you are always invited, but this time I want it to be me and her only. It's the first time I get to be with her on her birthday. I just left for school and cried. Why is he punishing me for getting pregnant? Things were great before, and all of a sudden, I don't even exist anymore. Ada for resenting my husband? Am I too needy and unreasonable? Oop, no, I had no clue. He just informed me during the lunch, babe. That is not how a loving husband would approach such a topic. And his comments on top of that? Jesus seems like he thinks that now that you're married and pregnant, there is no way you'll leave and he can treat you however. That is not right. You deserve better. There are a million red flags in this post. Make sure your support system is tight. Talk to people about possibly staying with them. Put money to the side. And then, only when you have a plan, hit him down and tell him that if things don't change, you're gone. Oop, yes. Apparently he had been discussing with Ella's mom for weeks about this. Nope. I wasn't even aware my wife took it upon herself to write her side yesterday. She left to stay with her coworker to clear her mind before making any decisions. Since then, many of my friends have read her post, contacted me, and called me a monster. Here is my side, and I'm genuinely wondering if I'm the bad guy here. I have been with my wife for the last 8 years. She got pregnant while we were engaged. I suggested having a small courthouse wedding and then a nice party when the baby was born. I have a daughter from a previous relationship. When her mother was pregnant, she left to stay with her parents across the country. I only met her maybe once a year. I was never involved in her life. Before our courthouse wedding, her mother messaged me that my daughter was moving in with me because she was pregnant and thought Ella, my daughter, should be with me. When I told my wife after our wedding, she didn't say anything. I told her that I was postponing our honeymoon since I couldn't leave my girl, who had just moved in and was feeling abandoned, just to go on some trip. My wife didn't say anything. Since Ella moved in, I have tried my best to make her feel welcome. I take her to extracurricular activities, she sees a therapist that I take her to, and I take her fishing with me. My wife has not only been very distant but also decided not to communicate with either of us. She hasn't put any effort into connecting with my daughter. They speak maybe a few words a day. My wife is always quiet, which makes things awkward. On top of that, she is jealous of my daughter and expects me to baby her because she is pregnant. She suggests crashing, I say no each time, in on any father-daughter activity without realizing my kid has been through so much. She expects me to come to all her baby appointments. I explain that I am working full-time and do all these extracurricular activities with Ella. Plus, she can just show me the ultrasound pictures later, it's not like there is anything I can do. My presence is not necessary for these appointments. Now, here is the thing, am I an asshole for trying to be there for my child? For putting my child first? For expecting my wife to be an adult and not expect me to baby her? She is using her pregnancy to be emotional and guilt-trip me because she is jealous of a literal child. Uda. Your wife is expecting your child. You have made no effort to make her feel special or wanted. You are putting your daughter's needs, understandable, over your wife's, who is also carrying your child, needs. Taking her to one of your father-daughter outings isn't going to kill you, rather it will help your daughter and wife bond. Frankly, your attitude about your wife wanting you at her medical appointments and everything in between is just concerning. You are making no effort to make your wife comfortable and more importantly at peace. Grow up and act like a husband for once too. Oop, I married her. Right away. Most men walk away. Oop, you are treating me like I'm a monster and captured the princess. Lol, we love each other. Just because I have boundaries and expectations doesn't mean I'm a monster. Oop, I do love her and the baby she is carrying. Our problem is she likes to be treated like a child and competes with my daughter. I expect her to act like an adult. I saw people told her in her post to murder my baby. No, she is not getting an abortion. Reddit is toxic sometimes. Update 1. I haven't slept all night. It's 7 a.m. in Toronto now, and I'm a mess. I thought I'd give you an update. Some of you called me a troll because you couldn't believe what an insensitive jackass I was. Well, you weren't wrong. Here's the update. My wife texted me yesterday, saying she found a new place and is planning to talk to a lawyer soon. She asked when she could come by to package her stuff. I was floored. I thought she was kidding or trying to scare me. But she wasn't, she was very serious. She came over with her coworker, Jen. I asked her if she could please stay and talk, then I'd give her a ride back to her coworker's place later. Her coworker gave me the dirtiest look and left. We talked for hours. I'm a monster and a crappy husband. She generally has anxiety, and pregnancy made it worse, and she's been dealing with it alone. Apparently, there was a scare during an ultrasound, and she had a full-blown panic attack. She said she was so lonely that the ultrasound tech and nurses had to help her out. Luckily, further testing showed that the baby is fine. I felt sick to my stomach picturing her alone and having a panic attack. I asked her why she didn't tell me. She said she had asked me many times to come, but each time I either called it stupid or made fun of her for being a big baby. She said while she was waiting for the further testing results, she was so anxious that she was throwing up all the time. I lived with her, yet I was so full of myself I didn't even notice. I begged her to come back. She said she can't at this time because of her mental health. I asked if I could come to the appointments from now on. She said, of course. We're going to see a marriage counselor as soon as possible. She said she'll only move back when the counselor says she's ready because, at this point, she's not. I asked if I could still take her out on date nights. She looked at me and asked if I was just doing this to expect sex afterward and trick her into coming back. I swore that I would drop her off at her place every time, no sleepovers and no expectations. Just dinners, talking, and doing activities like when we were dating. She smiled. She asked about my daughter, and I told her she misses you. She said, no, she doesn't even know me. I admitted she was right. I told her I messed up and that hopefully, when she's ready, she can join us on some outings. She said, yeah, maybe. I drove her back to her coworker. So folks, as Doug Ford says, to summarize, I stayed awake all night. I'm disgusted by my actions. So that's the update as of now. My wife has left me for now, and I'm skating on very thin ice. Hopefully, I'll have more positive updates soon. P.S. I admitted I was a selfish puss. I have been getting DMs suggesting to kill myself, or hope my wife miscarry so she would be free. I'm going to stop replying. You still are TA. You weren't the only one disgusted by what you wrote. The post and the responses that followed only had one thing in common: me and I. My house, my expenses, my daughter, my rules, my this, my that. Never once did you talk about your wife in an equal partner sense of a way. Even though your wife knew about your daughter, you sprung her on her. Never once did you find it right to discuss with her first. Her life was going to be impacted by it too. She made every attempt to be close to your daughter, which was stonewalled by you. You dismissed your pregnant wife's concerns as being jealous and a baby competing with your daughter. The fact that you were so ignorant to your wife's pleas that you totally sent her into a downward spiral. Despite all of this, your wife is still willing to give you a chance. That right there tells you what an amazing person she is. I hope for your sake, you have changed, because if you haven't, then God help you.